Welcome back to Criminologist, the channel where we uncover the darkest and most perplexing mysteries from around the world. Today we bring you the chilling stories of three individuals whose lives were tragically cut short or lost to the unknown. Anastasia Sotnikova was a 22-year-old woman living with her parents in Moscow, Russia. On 31st January 2011, Anastasia left her home for her German language course. She would not return home that night. She did not have her own car and used to take the subway to her classes. Her father was supposed to pick her up from the subway exit, but he was a little late. He waited at the subway station for a few minutes. He tried calling her, but she didn't pick up the phone. Her family waited for her for 12 hours, hoping she would come back home, but when it was clear something was terribly wrong, they reported her missing. The police at first did not take the case seriously and told the parents that she probably was partying somewhere and would come back soon. Her family, however, were adamant that Anastasia never went to a party without telling anyone. It would take police 3 days before they start looking into the case. A search for the missing woman was launched, and missing person flyers were distributed throughout the city. The police also decided to check the CCTV cameras at the subway. The CCTV captured Anastasia exiting the subway train. After her exit from the subway train, Anastasia was seen taking the escalator and then passing through the turnstile when a man of Slavic appearance who was talking on the phone followed her. The police tried to identify the man through cell phone records, but it was found that no calls of that length were made in that area at that point of time, and it is believed the man was pretending to be on the phone. Anastasia left the subway station around 10:17 p.m. She has not been seen since. The man on the phone has never been identified. A witness would later come forward and reported that she had seen Anastasia being forced into a car by a man. Anastasia's cell phone last pinged on Varshavskoye Highway 57. At the time of her disappearance, Anastasia was wearing a brown fur coat, a red scarf, black jeans, and black suede flat boots. There have been no updates in the case since, and Anastasia remains missing to this day. Maxim Taumanov was an 11-year-old boy living with his parents in Krasnoyarsk, Russia. On 16th April 2005, Maxim attended his school and returned to his house at around 4 p.m. He then told his mother that he was going to go play with his friend Sasha, who lived in the same apartment building. Later that evening, Maxim failed to return to his home for dinner. Concerned, Maxim's mother, Oksana, went out to look for him but could not find him anywhere. While searching, she ran into Sasha's parent, Larisa, and Pyotr Lavrenyov, and found out that Sasha hadn't returned home as well. Soon, they were met with 3 other parents looking for their kids. Maxim Taumanov, Alexander Sasha Lavrenov, Safar Aliyev, Gal Ash Mamedgasanov, and Dmitry Makarov had all not returned home that evening. All 5 young boys were friends and lived in the same apartment building. They were all between the ages of 9 and 12 and often played together. After searching around a bit and not finding any of the boys, the parents reported them missing to the police. At first, the police considered the children to be runaways and did not take the case seriously. The parents did not believe this, as 4 of the kids came from loving families and did not have a reason to run away. Only one of the boys had some family problems and had even tried to run away in the past. After receiving no help from the police, the parents decided to search for themselves, combing neighboring courtyards, schools, nearby junkyards, and industrial plants, but could not find the kids anywhere. It was only after 3 days, after the media picked up the case and public outcry, that the police started to take the case seriously. The kids were last seen walking together on the Glinkina street, just a couple of blocks away from their school. Over the next few weeks, more than 5,000 police searched for the boys using helicopters and cadaver dogs throughout the city. The boys' photographs were distributed throughout the city, but to no avail. 2 weeks later, the police changed the case to kidnapping and then to a murder investigation. During their search, the police did not come up empty-handed. In fact, they stumbled upon 6 other bodies, including a newborn child and 2 people who appeared to be violently murdered. The police also found an alive 6-month-old baby, nearly starved to death, lying in a sewage pipe near a factory. On 8th May 2005, 22 days after the boys went missing, a scrap metal collector found all 5 bodies of the boys inside an empty concrete sewage well, which had been covered by a manhole cover with a tire and wooden pallet on top. The bodies were found just 300 meters from their apartment building. Strangely, Sasha's father and the police had searched the exact same sewage well several times before the bodies were discovered, but found it to be empty. According to the police, the bodies found were so badly burnt that they were nothing more than blackened bones and fragments of bones. The bodies were initially identified through a silver-plated chain which Maxim used to wear and a house key that matched Sasha's apartment door key. It would take the authorities some time to identify all the bodies through DNA. According to the official police report, they believe the boys accidentally killed themselves. They theorized that the boys climbed into the sewage well themselves and touched something that ignited a firestorm of methane gas and old fuel oil, or that the boys had climbed into the sewage well to sniff aerosol fumes, or that they tried to light a small bonfire. A spray can was found inside the sewage well. The parents of the boys did not believe this theory and stated that there wasn't enough room for the boys to squeeze into, as the sewage well was only about 5 feet in diameter. Moreover, there was no ladder leading into the sewage well, although police did say there was a burnt log that could have been used to climbing in. Burning the bodies to the bones need a temperature around 1,000 degrees Celsius, and the parents have wondered if the accidental fire would have been enough to reach those temperatures. Various other details have suggested a cover-up. A neighbor had reportedly seen a black car with no license plate near the apartment building in the days before the boys' disappearance, and a young boy who was playing with the missing boys earlier that day before he had to run an errand for his mother, claimed that, while returning from the errand, he had seen a man with a submachine gun forcing the boys into a black car. The young boy, however, would later recant his statement and said he made it up. The young boy and her mother can no longer be found. The parents of the kids said the mother is hiding as she fears her child's safety. There are some speculation on the condition of the bodies found. Maxim's father claimed in an interview that there was one local drunk man who had helped the police move the bodies out of the sewage well. This man claimed that the bodies were not burnt at all, but that they showed signs of strangulation. This drunk man then disappeared and never seen again. Maxim's father also stated that many witnesses at the crime scene had seen clothes being taken out of the well, but the clothes were never shown to the parents for the identification. In fact, they were told that everything was burnt to ashes and nothing was left to identify. Even the keys and the necklace found on the bodies were never shown the parents. According to the official police report, the cause of death of 4 boys is undetermined, while the 5th boy, Dmitry, died of carbon monoxide poisoning, probably result of being burnt alive. Only 4 of the boys were able to be identified through DNA test. While Safar Aliyev was so badly burnt that nothing was left of him to extract DNA from. It was also found that 3 of the bodies were completely drained of blood, while 4th, Dmitry's body, was partially drained of blood. Only Dmitry's body had some kind of fungus present on it. The fungus was determined to be on the body since April 17th to 19th. This suggests the boys died 1 to 3 days after their disappearance. Now, there are few questions that don't convince me that it was a freak accident, as the police suggested. The first is, how could the boys have opened the concrete manhole cover, gone inside, closed the manhole cover, and put the tire and the wooden pallet on top of the cover? Secondly, why was the fungus found only on one body? If all the bodies were cramped into the same sewage well, the fungus would have easily spread to other bodies. This makes you wonder if Dmitri's body was stored somewhere else than the other bodies. Thirdly, why were the children's bodies drained of blood before being burnt if it was an accident? 7 police officers were eventually charged with negligence for failing to launch an immediate search of the boys after their disappearance. There have been no updates in the case since, and it remains unsolved. Maria Glinkina was a 19-year-old activist living in Nizhny Novgorod, Russia. On 8 November 2014, Maria had planned to meet up with her friend, Irina Ivanenko, at her house on Timirya-Seva Street. Now, it is unclear where Maria exactly was before she left to meet up with Irina. Her friend Irina claims that Maria was waiting for her boyfriend, Nikita, with whom she was supposed to visit Irina. While the police reports claim that Maria was waiting for a few friends, but decided not wait for them and headed towards Irina's place alone. At 10 p.m., Maria would call Irina and told her that she was on her way to her house. At 10:20 p.m., Maria called her again to let her know that she was on Menina Street. When Irina asked how she was planning on getting to her house, Maria said that she was walking on foot. According to Irina, she wasn't worried that Maria was walking on foot at night, as she thought Maria was with Nikita and that they both were walking together to her house. But that was not the case. Maria was walking alone, and Irina's house was about 3.2 kilometers from Menina Street, and it would have taken her roughly 40 minutes on foot. Maria then texted Irina at around 11:02 p.m., telling her that she had reached Belinskogo Street and would reach her place in 10 to 15 minutes, but she never did. After 20 minutes had gone by and Maria still hadn't arrived, Irina called her cell phone. Maria picked up the call and said, "Sorry, I can't talk to you. I'll call you back later," and hanged up the phone. Irina said Maria sounded like she was out of breath and in a hurry. Concerned, Irina called her again at around 11:22 p.m. Maria picked up the call and told her that she was not coming. This would be the last time anyone heard from Maria. 15 minutes later, Irina tried calling her again, but her phone was switched off. It is unclear when she was reported missing, but what is clear is that the police did not launch a search for her immediately. A search was eventually conducted by a few volunteers on November 9th, and it was these volunteers that would find her body the next day. The police only started searching on November 10th. On November 10th, the volunteers found Maria's body in a basement of an abandoned building just a few blocks from Belinskogo Street. Maria was found tied up and in an embryo position with her arms stretched out. She was found naked from waist down, and her clothes appeared to be missing except for her scarf and a sweater, which were found on the body. It is believed the killer took her clothes with him. An autopsy revealed she had been severely beaten and raped. Her cause of death was determined to be asphyxiation, although no strangulation marks were found on her neck. Police at first theorized that she had been hit by a car and the driver had dumped her body in the basement. But this theory did not explain why her hands and feet tied up, and after the autopsy results, this theory was dropped. The police checked the surveillance camera in the surrounding area, and what they found was chilling. At 11:05 p.m., just after Maria had texted Irina to let her know that she had reached Belinskogo Street, she was captured on CCTV at the intersection of Maxim Gorky Street and Reshetnikovskaya Street. That means that Maria lied about her location to Irina on the text, as she could not have been at Belinskogo Street at 11:02 p.m. if she was at the intersection at 11:05 p.m. In the CCTV footage, Maria can be seen walking at the intersection, and just 30 seconds later, an unknown man can be seen following her. The man has not been identified, and it is believed this man tortured, raped, and killed Maria. Something else to note is that the location where Maria's body was found is just 300 meters or a 4-minute walk from the intersection where she was captured on CCTV. However, Irina had called her at 11:22 p.m., and Maria had told her that she won't be coming. Which begs the question, where was Maria between the 11:05 p.m. CCTV sighting and the 11:22 p.m. call from Irina? The volunteers do not believe she was killed in the abandoned building, as the house is not entirely isolated. Residents living next to the building did not report hearing anything suspicious that night. Moreover, many homeless people and packs of dogs take shelter in the building. Someone would have certainly heard something. It is believed that Maria was kidnapped sometime after her CCTV sighting. Many have theorized that Maria was probably with the killer when Irina called her at 11:22 p.m. and was threatened by the killer to tell Irina that she won't be coming in order to not attract attention. Maria was then most likely taken someplace else where she was raped, beaten, and murdered. The killer then probably dumped the body in the abandoned building later. Supporting this theory is the fact that Maria's parents had her phone tracked by someone who worked for the law enforcement and found out that Maria's phone was moving very fast after her CCTV sighting, suggesting that she was in a car. Strangely, a man similar in appearance was seen the following morning on November 9th at 7 a.m. on another CCTV footage. It is widely speculated that the man had just dumped the body in the abandoned basement. However, the man wasn't carrying anything with him at the time. Notably, Maria's missing clothes cannot be seen with him in the footage, and it is unclear if it is the same man who followed her. The police have interviewed more than 500 people, but no one has been charged. They have released a sketch of the supposed killer, but so far he has not been identified. The police have no suspects in the case. There have been no updates, and with little media coverage, the case remains unsolved. At Criminologist, we believe in shedding light on the mysteries that the world can't forget. If you find these stories as compelling as we do, smash that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and hit the bell icon to never miss an update.